4, 5, and we are live. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Give me one quick second. Let me just save this. Okay, boom, save that. Get that out the way. This will be our portable handheld. Right now, let me situate myself. So, good thing is that we secure power, we secure the internet, and I'm over here trying to function, right? For production, quality. I'm gonna try to move these things around. We are here live at the barbecue, live at the breakfast, table number 27. You already know that's the code for I own this place. For people that don't know, we're McDonald's franchisees at number 27 in this market. So I can give you guys good visuals, right? So I gotta kind of administrate my studio here. Oh, before I went live, I had completely forgotten that um, I basically isn't that perfect. You know what I forgot? I forgot to put my straw in my water. Good memory test for myself. Everybody, good morning. Welcome in. Special test start time 2 minutes. 5 pages, 5 paragraphs each. 5 sentences each paragraph. 5 words per sentence. 5 computer spaces in between. 5 revisions. Show the work. You can use your hyperscientific. You can use any artificial intelligence. All you need to do is show the work. If you show the work, you will get credit. If you don't show the work, I'm going to have to assume that you use all technology and you will get no credit. So now, how do we put this breakfast of champions together? Haha, look at that. Customized caramel. I did a large one today. Thought about a medium. I've been flirting with the idea of a medium, but I had to create my own breakfast. So even though they gave me two, only gonna use one ketchup packet, and I'm just gonna put a little stripe, a little racing stripe, because if I normally got two, one packet is enough for two. Then I requested something special today. Let me show you what I requested. I requested butter. I thought I was gonna have one, so I anticipated only one. Here's a fork and a knife, and I'm probably going to only use the knife. So we'll save the fork, take it to the office because I always need forks or eating utensils. Now I have a sausage biscuit, not a sausage muffin, which has cheese. And technically, I could put butter at least on one side because the patty normally will get stuck to to the cheese. But because I got a biscuit, I can take the meat separate, right? And because now we've been blessed to have two butters, because the lady got mad love for the kid, as you can tell, this is whipped, cool whipped butter. So I'm gonna make myself a big breakfast. How am I gonna do that? I'm gonna show you. It's only one way to find out. I'm gonna use my knife. I'm going to separate the butter from the container, from the tapura, and we're good to go. Now, for the meat, I'm gonna break it into quarters. Easy enough to grab, and I could take a few bites each. Now I'm gonna make myself comfortable, and you could go to room 27 where the players dwell. You know what I mean? Give you guys better vision. So first and foremost, we're gonna get our prayer in, and I already have my platform, which you know what? Let's just fire it up. Open up your Baja apps because after we do some introduction insights, we will diverge and divulge profoundly into the markets. Um, we'll do some reflections. First of all, I have to make a good environment for what I'm going to eat. Oh, you see the new prototypes, kid. You love it. Let's drink some water. Make sure everything flows good in the system. Out. Then we're going to start with our hash browns. This looks about perfect. Let's find out. Perfect. Now for my platform, for my handheld digital platform, I've gotten accustomed just putting the napkin down so I don't scrape the interface or the camera. Two of these will have you good the whole day. Potatoes turns into sugar, energy, all the way to the afternoon. I normally eat lunch early, 5, 6, 7 in the morning. I go to lunch normally between 2:30, 3:30 in the afternoon. Now, in all fairness, I do hydrate a lot. I do drink coffee. Yesterday, my business partner, Miss Allison, made me a cup of joe with graham crackers. I ate 4 graham crackers and a little espresso shot. Magnifico. Calm the craving down. I'm thinking fried chicken. I'm thinking whatever. Because I sacrificed treating myself to a smash burger that evening. It looks like we're gonna have a rainy day in our hands. I've been stressing, as you can tell. I'm always battling these sores. I get these ingrowns. I have 4. I have to lower my stress. These are physical signs of stress. My skin is super sensitive. I have to battle with it all the time. Now let's start on our patty. For the biscuit, I like to start with the top part. Delicioso. I must admit, it's very, very cool. Very cool. Wish it was a little hotter. Or, well done. It's okay. I have an idea. Operation Planet Fitness, yeah, 3 days to engage. I have to travel. If I don't go to the West Coast, then I know what I need to do. I have to renew my membership. I have 2 weeks before one is due. So I would like to pay for this one this week. Spread it out. This I can't do every day. It's a lot heavier than just 2 hash browns. There's a biscuit, a sausage patty, 2 butters. But it's a work in progress. My business partners will be in the office in about 30 minutes. Gives me plenty of time to get back there. I'm very eager to see what's going on with this business. It's raining hard body too. I may just have to wait. Now, as a creative, I'm always thinking about multitasking, right? Multi-using the same space. I see a table and I'm like, all it needs is ideas. I could probably broadcast from there. You know what I mean? Something cool like that. I rate this high. I'll say that's a level 3 rating, but it's very consistent. Cloudy, very cloudy. Thinking, what should I do? Equally so, there's another set of tables right behind the table, the main table, that it will provide nice background. I look at the vents in this franchise, and it's a 3-2 layout, right? So it's 3-2. No, actually, it's a two wild card. Two mm, double wild card. I believe that corner to be the warmest place because the air is this is good for military training. It's good to adapt to any environment. Texture of the biscuit, been there for me. Fresh made, but not really slow, not released at the perfect time. Grateful nonetheless, just my observation as a chef myself. Back up from here. Hmm. Viva di Alibaba. SpaceX. We're gonna be easy today. I only have two articles. But that means we have more time for Dominican newspapers. Go open up your Google News. We're still gonna go to technology. We'll go wccftech.com and let's go open up our Dominican newspapers. You guys can use Copilot like I mentioned to you. You can use DeepSeek. You can use Grok. I never mentioned Grok in my intros. You guys can use Grok if you like. Go to Salud, which is health.
Probably for a dog.
Mantener un horario del sueño puede mejorar la recuperación de la insuficiencia cardíaca. Okay, let's load everything up. Let's do a module. Open up your Learn Business Management app. Let's go elementary. Let's go discrete random variables. And we'll see how many we can do. All right? We have time. It's just that it's cold. That's it. No excuse. One more piece.
Black coffee. No, she's coming.
Right here.
Yes, sir. So is it a good thing, ain't it?
That's the best thing.
Good thing I pulled all the little plants outside.
Yes.
I have confirmation. Place is set Hometown mystery. It looks like a duck, quacks like a duck. Probably not a rock.
Large black coffee.
That happens a lot.
I hope that the weather does not propel me to go haywire. And then again, it could be an advantage to the business. Who knows? Most people are not going to do it. We are definitely open for business. So, I'm going to provide value to you guys. That is super cool. Let's go for maybe if I could drink half.
Yeah. Whatever that means. Yeah, that doesn't matter. I think my sample
See the Coca-Cola logo?
has reflection.
Marketing, baby. Rule number 1 is the same rule as 2, 3, 4, and 5. Protect the franchise. Protect the brand. Quick reflections before we get started. First of all, I want the universe to know how appreciative I am. This is day 40 of my new life. 40 days, 39 nights. It will be 40 nights tonight. Extremely grateful, extremely appreciative. I have found an amazing opportunity. Good will come from this. I have faith and I trust in the process. 1,034 songs and growing. Released a new album yesterday. The Return of Akuma Akira. All new production. I think Buddha only had one track on there. New producer on 7 of the joints. So it's the equivalent of 8 singles, but really an album plus 1 single. But then, like I said, I released the 8 singles in a day. Very grateful, very thankful. It was day 2 of doing the lives on Discord. Very, very cool. And the goal is to do 8 o'clock every night. Listen to an album. I did a rehearsal right afterwards. I had recorded the album, an hour before, and I promoted it 1 hour prior to. And just kind of went from there. Again, I'm still learning how to use everything on Discord, but with time, things will get better. I'll definitely take a master class on it. What else? I have travel plans in the horizon. Definitely have travel plans. I have a time frame where I need to be on the West Coast. If today is super successful, as I predict that it is going to be, then I could be on a flight possibly tomorrow. And then, maybe just spend a few days and fly back. So I have to be able to achieve all of my goals. Um, I do have different options of where I can fly out from, but I'm going to explore all of those options. And today on the palette, we have excellent customer service, excellent customer experience. We should get an influx. Today's Labor Day. Most businesses will be closed. Our competitors are definitely closed. Um, basically, just dedicating that time to go the extra mile for the clients. I believe that this clientele will be a more mature clientele. Um, definitely super potential to be super successful. Uh, definitely want to be there to catch every single client and kind of build from there. My business partners, number one priority is always keep them happy. Yesterday, for example, one of my business partners was just going through it, and I had actually taken the prior day before off so that this person will be busier to fill their books. This person, as a defense mechanism, still found a way to complain, so I went above and beyond to try to keep this person happy. And ultimately, by the end of the day, I achieved that. It took a while for the rhythm and the groove to kind of function, but I'm very proud of what I did and how I did it. And I actually mentioned it to my business partner. I said, you know, at the end of the day, I'm a doctor, I'm a lawyer, I'm an engineer, I'm a serial entrepreneur, I'm an artist. You know, I'm into a lot of things, but ultimately, I want you guys to be happy. And if I have to make you guys laugh, if I have to, you know, find a creative way to make sure that you guys feel appreciated, then that's what I'm going to do because that's my responsibility. So nobody works for me. I don't use the word employee. All I have is business partners, and my job is to work for you. I work for you. How can I help you? How can I make it better? That is my approach. That is the secret to my success. And the way that I approach new potential business partners or opportunities like for a franchise or a business or an investment, my first question is how can I help you? How can I be a storage of value to you? How can I provide you value? But at the same time, you know, still basically, you know, bring value to you. Like not only how I can bring value to you, but how can I be a storage of value? How can I build enough trust for you to always come to me if you have a question? So that was a marvelous accomplishment. Also, little by little, I've been teaching my business partners about nutrition. I have to admit, in the last 2 weeks, I've probably, um, I guess, indulged the most, and I can see the difference. Like my business partners should eat a lot, and they should say, "Oh, you see, I've been eating all this chocolate," you know, and she'll look at her figure. I have to admit, I was getting ready this morning, and I'm like, I kind of been splurging, but what I have overcome is like the ice cream urge, right? Like I went to the supermarket no less than 3 times, and I saw the Snickers, Breyers ice cream. They have the Reese's peanut butter cup. What other franchise? I think they have the Butterfinger ones. Like yo, I'm talking about it was on sale. One time I put it in the cart, and right when I got to the cookies, where they have like the rotisserie chicken, then you have self checkout and you have the registers. There's a place where they have sandwiches. I put it down right there. I said, yo, I can't, I can't do this. But yesterday I felt the craving, and we just started talking about food. And I said, look, I get happy just thinking about the cravings, right? So my business partner, one thing led to another in the conversation. It was like, yo, can I have some coffee? And it's not the best coffee. And plus, I had drinking coffee in the morning, but I took the offer, and she gave me some graham crackers. I ate four. Comes 8 in a pack. I gave four to my other business partner, and his sugar was low. You could tell he needed a little snack, and that helped me through. That helped me through until I had dinner that night. So for dinner, I took myself to the restaurant Chili's. I got me chips and salsa. I got me lettuce, tomato, quarter pounder smash burger, very No, not very well done. Well done. There was some. Uh, it's okay. It was good. Uh, Ketchup, barbecue sauce, ranch, and I had a Coca Cola. Last time I had a Dr. Pepper, and it's a work in progress. But I've been doing my part to teach my business partners about the psychology of why we need to keep something in the system every 2 hours, what we need to look out for, and it's not about perfection. It's just about a basic understanding. The more you understand the basis of it, the more your subconscious mind goes into action. So for me, I know for a fact that I went above and beyond in many situations, and I've had to dial it back. So, for example, like today, I can feel the difference. I know that the biscuit is much heavier, the meat that I ate is much heavier. Um, no cheese, but I had the craving for it. But then two whipped butters, which is the equivalent of really one. So about 2 tablespoons of no, 2 teaspoons of butter, and most likely it's probably going to be margarine, so it's going to be oil based, not the healthiest. You know what I'm saying? It's not like it's country crop. You know what I mean? Shameless plug, but overall, just feeling gratitude. It rained, it stopped, the sun came out for a quick second. It looks like it's going to be another cycle. So, without further ado, let's get started on these modules and see how much time we can eat off the clock, and then we'll venture back out to the office with our focus on customer service and customer experience. Okay? So I hope that that was helpful and beneficial to you. And what we're going to try to do is once we finish, I'll try to have some reflection points for the module for the learning business management. It looks like we could do the intro and we can do chapters 1, 2, and 3, but don't quote me on that because I haven't looked into the module, but it'll give us an idea. So let's just jump into it and let's fire up with this coffee. You guys ready? I want to see how you guys are doing in your portfolio, all right? So let's rock and roll. BYD sells 373,626 vehicles in August. BYD Auto Corporation Limited announced in a filing on Monday that its vehicle sales in August stood at 373,626 units, virtually unchanged from a year ago. Out of the total number, 371,501 were passenger cars, while the rest were commercial vehicles. Among the passenger cars, 199,585 were battery electric vehicles, and 171,916 were plug-in hybrid vehicles. Year to date, BYD sold 2.9 million vehicles, with the figure soaring 23% compared to the same time frame in 2024. BYD Corporation Limited stands in the Green Ranger, 2.14%, $114.40 at time of recording. Alibaba jumped 17% on strong AI revenue. Alibaba Group Holding Limited traded more than 17% higher in Monday's afternoon session on the Hong Kong Stock Exchange after the company posted better than expected first quarter revenue in its cloud segment, which surged 26% to 33.4 billion yuan, 4.67 billion. CEO Eddie Wu highlighted the achievement in the post-earnings call, saying the company investments in AI have begun to deliver tangible results and that Alibaba now sees an increasingly clear path for artificial intelligence to drive robust growth. Alibaba shares were up 17.89% at 7:06 a.m. Central Eastern Time, trading at $136.30 Hong Kong dollars. Alibaba Holding Limited in the red 0.09%, $115.70 a share. Alibaba Group Holding Limited in the Green Ranger, 12.90%, $135. And this is from the 31st. SpaceX launches 28 Starlink satellites to orbit. SpaceX sent another 28 Starlink satellites into Earth's orbit on Sunday, using its Falcon 9 launch from Space Launch Complex 40 SLC-40 at Cape Canaveral Space Force Station in Florida. Shout out to St. Patrick's, that's my base. The company said that this launch marked the 23rd flight for the Falcon 9 first stage booster supporting this mission, and it follows yesterday's Falcon 9 launch that sent 24 Starlink satellites to low Earth orbit from Space Launch Complex 4 East SLC-4E at Vandenberg Space Force Base in California. Not bad. So, get out of here. Now, let's see what's going on in the technology world. Please log on to WCCFtech.com and thank you for sponsoring today's episode. This episode is brought to you by Mr. Omar Sohail, Senior Editor for Mobile. Omar joined the WCCF Tech team back in 2014 with a keen interest surrounding the latest gadgets, tablets, and other consumer electronics. He's also a hardcore PC gamer, has a love and hate relationship with consoles, and takes an interest in both hardware and gaming. When he's not reporting about the latest happenings in the mobile industry, he likes to learn more about technology and how it works, appreciating the time and effort companies make in developing new products that simplify life for users. You could follow him at Omar at WCCFtech.com on X, Twitter, and Facebook. Thank you very much, Mr. Omar. Here we go. Leak Mobile. iPhone 17 Pro Max vapor chamber allegedly leaked. Will cover a massive portion of the flagship to effectively dissipate heat. Apple has always avoided a vapor chamber cooler in its iPhones for some reason, preventing its A series chipsets from operating at their full potential. Later this year, during the company's awe inspiring keynote that is scheduled to be held on September 9th, the iPhone 17 Pro and iPhone 17 Pro Max could be the first devices from the technology giant to ship with a vapor chamber, allowing the internals to function at their highest performance levels. However, not every cooler behaves the same, and many times the solution's thickness and size determine its effectiveness. Now we get our first look at the iPhone 17 Pro Max's vapor chamber, which covers a massive area designed to transfer heat away from a bevy of components. The A19 Pro arriving to the iPhone 17 Pro Max could deliver better sustained performance when running taxing applications thanks to the vapor chamber. The image of the iPhone 17 Pro Max's vapor chamber was shared by at Lucy Roy 8, and even though the dimensions have not been shared on X, it appears to cover a large surface area of the flagship. Apart from providing adequate cooling to the A19 Pro, the post also shows that the device's NAND flash will be covered under the vapor chamber to prevent thermal throttling. Previously, Apple would employ a graphite thermal solution to transfer heat away, but as you can guess, it is less proficient than a vapor chamber. As for why Apple took so long to bring this cooling solution to its mobile devices, the Cupertino firm likely assumed that it served no purpose because iPhones were not primarily used to carry out intensive tasks. Now, with the introduction of the A17 Pro in 2023, which not only supported hardware accelerated ray tracing, but also ran AAA games like Resident Evil Village, Resident Evil 4 Remake, and a multitude of titles. Apple thought that this addition would allow the iPhone 17 Pro Max's thermals to be better controlled, giving the flagship's components sufficient breathing room and letting them operate at their full potential. In addition to gaming, on-device AI applications are also intensive on various components, which will pretty much make the vapor chamber mandatory. Also, given that the iPhone 17 Pro Max boasts a bigger footprint than the iPhone 17 Pro, it is possible that the larger flagship's vapor chamber will cover an increased surface area, but that remains to be seen. Assuming this leak is accurate, we would not be surprised to hear positive reviews on how Apple's revamped cooling solution has tamed the iPhone 17 Pro Max's thermals. Very well written article, very well put together, and I love the pace. So before we go into our modules, let us go to the Dominican newspapers. Let's go salud. And here we go for my Spanish students, okay? My ESL students. And for my people studying journalism international. I pray that this brings great value to you. And this is, uh, ongoing investment for me overseas. Mantener un horario del sueño puede mejorar la recuperación de la insuficiencia cardíaca. Dormir lo suficiente permite que el cerebro y el cuerpo descansen y se recuperen del estrés diario. Foto diana.gritsku@freepik, EFE. Europa Press. La constancia en el horario del sueño puede mejorar la recuperación de la insuficiencia cardíaca, según un estudio dirigido por la Universidad de Salud y Ciencias de Oregón, Estados Unidos. Asimismo, el estudio publicado en JACC Advances advierte que incluso un sueño moderadamente irregular duplica el riesgo de sufrir otro evento clínico, en un plazo de 6 meses, lo que puede derivar en una nueva visita a urgencias, una hospitalización o incluso la muerte. Para hallar estos resultados, los investigadores estudiaron a 32 pacientes que habían estado hospitalizados por insuficiencia cardíaca aguda descompensada en el hospital OHSU y el centro médico Hillsborough entre septiembre del 2022 y octubre del 2023. Durante una semana después del alta hospitalaria, los participantes usaron diarios de sueño para registrar la hora a la que se dormían por la noche, se despertaban por la mañana y el horario de las siestas que tomaban durante el día. Luego se clasificó a los participantes como durmientes regulares o durmientes moderadamente irregulares, según sus patrones de sueño. Así, el estudio encontró que tras el alta hospitalaria, 21 participantes experimentaron un evento clínico a lo largo de 6 meses y de ese grupo, 13 fueron clasificados como durmientes. Moderadamente irregulares, en comparación con 8 clasificados como personas con un horario de sueño regular. Por eso señalan que estadísticamente quienes dormían irregularmente tenían más del doble de riesgo de sufrir un evento a lo largo del periodo de 6 meses. Cuando dormimos y descansamos, nuestra presión arterial y frecuencia cardíaca disminuyen en la comparación con los niveles diurnos, explica la profesora adjunta de investigación del Laboratorio de Sueño, Cronobiología y Salud de la Facultad de Enfermería de OHSU, Brooke Schaefer. Sin embargo, la variabilidad en el horario de sueño puede alterar los mecanismos que regulan el sistema cardiovascular. Un sueño irregular puede contribuir a resultados adversos, especialmente en personas que ya padecen insuficiencia cardíaca, añade. En este sentido, los investigadores concluyen que mejorar la regularidad del sueño puede ser un enfoque terapéutico de bajo costo para mitigar los eventos adversos en adultos con insuficiencia cardíaca. Además, apunta que el siguiente paso será ampliar la investigación a una cohorte más grande de participantes y ver si mejorar la regularidad del sueño reduce el riesgo de otro evento clínico. Europa Press, Listín Diario, República Dominicana. Very well put together, very good pace. So let's go to discrete random variables. Open up that module. Let's go to introduction. Lecture number 1 out of 18. And here we go. We start our investigation of random variables Descriptive statistics deals with variables that can take values within a discrete or a continuous set. Correspondingly, we cover discrete random variables. As we shall see, the mathematics involved in the study of continuous random variables requires concepts from calculus and is a bit more challenging than what is needed to cope with discrete ones. Hence, we prefer to proceed gradually, introducing intuitive concepts in the simpler case and emphasizing an intuitive link with descriptive statistics. In section 6.1, we introduce random variables formally as associations of random events with numerical values. Then in section 6.2, we show how the distribution of a discrete random variable can be characterized by a probability mass function or a cumulative distribution function, which are related to concepts from descriptive statistics. In example, histograms of relative frequencies and cumulative relative frequencies. Sections 6.3 and 6.4 proceed along the same conceptual path, introducing expected values or discrete random variables first, and then variance and standard deviations. Finally, in section 6.5, we describe the main discrete probability distributions that are common in applications, along with some motivating examples relevant to business management. As we pointed out, this is just a first step, providing the reader with the basic knowledge about probability distributions, which is needed to tackle continuous random variables, where we also cover other concepts such as quantiles, skewness, and kurtosis. These apply to both discrete and continuous random variables, but we prefer treating them once with a more complete setting after building some intuition based on the simpler discrete case. The next one, we just consider the univariate case. We introduce concepts about independence and correlation among multiple random variables, thus stepping into the domain of multivariate distributions. Chapter 2, Lecture 2 out of 18, Random Variables. In the probability theory, we work with events. The questions we may ask about events are quite limited, as they can either occur or not, and we may just investigate the probability of an event in business management. More often than not, we are interested in questions with a more quantitative twist, since events are linked to numerical values. Example 6.1 considers an airline adopting an overbooking strategy. The rationale behind overbooking is that aircraft capacity cannot be stored. If an aircraft with 50 seats flies with 10 empty ones, this does not mean that its capacity will be 60 on the next flight. Hence, many airlines accept bookings in excess of the actual capacity in order to compensate for no shows. In example, passengers with a reservation who do not show up at check-in. In real life, different tariffs are offered, defining the possibility of canceling the reservation and moving freely to another flight. In a simplified setting, the overbooking problem consists of determining the total number of bookings that we should accept. This decision does have an impact on the probability of an overbooking event, which occurs if any passenger cannot be accommodated at check-in. However, we are likely to be interested also in the cost of an overbooking strategy, as an overbooked passenger must be protected in some way, either by rerouting him or her to another flight or by offering overnight accommodation. Hence, we should associate numerical values with events. Formally, a random variable is a mapping from events to numerical values. Definition 6.1. Random variable. A random variable is a function mapping outcomes within a sample space omega to real numbers. This is sometimes denoted as follows: x equals omega to the r. We can also use the notation x parentheses w, with w eternity omega to emphasize the dependence on random outcomes. In this definition, we should note that random variables are typically denoted by uppercase letters like x, whereas lowercase letters such as x minuscule are reserved to denote realizations of random variables. In example, numerical values: x equals capital X parentheses lowercase w, corresponding to a specific event. Sometimes an alternative notation is used where e eternity refers to a random variable and eternity refers to a realizations. This is handy with Greek letters, as you may imagine, and it is common in economics. The definition above is actually a bit informal and definitely incomplete. We should keep in mind that probability are associated with events. An example, sets of elementary outcomes. Hence, the definition of random or a random variable depends on the family, capital F, of events, capital E, above, above eternity, omega. Hence, we should define a random variable referring to a probability space consisting of the sample space omega, the family of event capital F, and the probability measure capital P parentheses capital E for events capital E eternity capital F. This may look a bit too abstract, but it is what we need to express information properly. For all of the practical purposes in this book, we not need or need not be bothered about such technicalities, which are just outlined in section 7.10 for the interested reader. All we need to know is that random experiments may result in numerical values that are practically relevant to us. Example 6.2. Consider a lottery based on coin flipping, in which you win an amount of 20 euros. If the coin lands head, and you lose 10 euros otherwise. Then we have a random variable x, capital X, such that capital X equals 20 if the outcome is head, negative 20 if the outcome is tail, which really readily translates to the probability distribution. Capital X equals 20 with probability zero point 0.5, or negative 10 with probability zero point 0.5, meaning 50%. Given our little lottery above, typical questions we may ask are: number one, if we keep repeating the lottery, what is the average win on the long term? Number two, what about its variability? Number three, more generally, how can we measure the risk of a lottery? Considering the first two questions, we are naturally reminded of concepts like mean and variance that we encountered in descriptive statistics. Indeed, we show later how these concepts can be adapted to random variables. However, there is a fundamental twofold gap when we move from descriptive statistics to probability theory and random variables. Number one, descriptive statistics is basically backward looking. We calculate summary measure based on past observations, which could be referred to a whole population or to a possibly small sample. On the contrary, probability theory is concerned with what may happen in the future. Hence, probability theory is intrinsically forward looking. Number two, furthermore, we implicitly assume that we know everything we need about a random variable. In example, we assume that we are endowed with complete knowledge about the uncertainty of the phenomenon that we are representing. In a sense, probability theory assumes knowledge about whole populations, not samples. Clearly, there is a link, as one could use a sample to learn something about probabilities of future events. But we have already seen in section 5.1 that this frequentist view is only one possibility. This is quite relevant when we consider the third question in the bullet list above. When dealing with risk management, one should ask if the past history contains all of the possible events. To get the point, imagine collecting statistics about credit crunches due to mortgage backed securities before 2007. We assume that we know the whole set of values that a random variable may take, as well as their probabilities. This is the support of a discrete probability distribution. Definition 6.2: support of a discrete distribution. The support of a discrete probability distribution is the set of values x, lowercase I, eternity equals capital R. I, example, lowercase I, 1, 2, 3, that the random variable capital X may take. We always assume that values in the supports have been sorted. In example, lowercase x, lowercase I, uh,
111?
not greater than lowercase x, lowercase I is a plus. As we see from this definition, the values lowercase xi may be real numbers in general, quite often. However, they are restricted to non-negative integer numbers. An example, lowercase x, lowercase I, eternity, capital Z is a plus. Yet, it is important to understand that this is not the feature that makes this distribution discrete. In the lottery above, in principle, the payoff could be real numbers like 3 pi pi and negative 27 pi pi. The point is that in a discrete distribution, the support is either a finite or a countably infinite set of values squared. In the former case, the support is a set of numbers, lowercase x, lowercase I, infinity equals capital R, I equals 1, 2, and having said that, in the following, the support of discrete distributions will mostly consist of integer numbers, which may include 0 or not, dependent on the application, but it is useful to keep the general framework in mind. Chapter 3, Lecture number 3 out of 18. Characterizing discrete distributions. When we deal with sampled data, it is customary to plot a histogram of relative frequencies in order to figure out how the data are distributed. When we consider a discrete random variable, we may use more or less the same concepts in order to provide a full characterization of uncertainty. For instance, if we consider dice throwing, a full description of the related random variable is given by capital P parentheses capital X equals lowercase I equals 1 6, lowercase I equals 1 2 3 and 6. This is an example of a probability mass function, which we formally define below and fully characterizes the probability distribution of a discrete random variable. However strange it may be, it turns out that a more flexible characterization is obtained by referring to cumulative relative frequencies, which leads to the definition of a cumulative distribution function. The essential advantage is that the latter function is more general and translates directly to the case of continuous random variables. In the next two sections, we explore these concepts in detail. Lecture number 4 out of 18, Cumulative Distribution Function. The basic stuff of probability theory consists of events and their probability measured given a random variable capital X. Consider the event hyphen capital X is lower than lowercase x. Incidentally, note how we use lowercase x to denote a number. The probability of this event is a function of x, lowercase x. Definition 6.3, Cumulative Distribution Function. Let capital X be a random variable. The function capital F, capital X, parentheses, infinity, equals to the third power capital P, parentheses, capital X greater than lowercase x. For x infinity equals capital R is called cumulative distribution function, CDF. The notation capital F, capital X, lowercase parentheses x clarifies that the CDF is a function of lowercase x associated with the random variable capital X as suggested by the attached subscript. In passing, we may also note that the definition above is quite general, and it does not require that capital X is a discrete random variable. The CDF can be defined like this for continuous random variables as well. To build intuition, let us see how the CDF compares to cumulative relative frequencies in descriptive statistics. Example 6.3 lets us consider a discrete random variable naturally related to dice throwing and build its CDF. To begin with, it is not possible to get a number strictly smaller than 1. Hence, capital P parentheses x is greater than lowercase x equals 0, for lowercase x is greater than 1. Then there is a jump in the function when we consider lowercase x equals 1. Capital P parentheses capital X is greater than 1, which is equal to 1/6. If we increase x, lowercase x, the CDF will stay there as long as 1 is greater than lowercase x greater than 2. Since the discrete random variable cannot take any value in the open interval, parentheses 1 and 2, then there is another jump for lowercase x equals 2. Capital P parentheses capital X is greater than 2 or equal to 2/6. Figure 6.1 CDF for dice throwing. Since the event hyphen capital X is greater than 2 includes the events hyphen capital X equals 1 and capital X equals 2, similar jumps occur for lowercase x 3, 4, 5. Finally, we have capital P parentheses x is greater than 6, which is equal to 1. For lowercase x to be greater or below 6, the function would just stay there, since the support is bounded by lowercase x equals 6. The resultant CDF is depicted in figure 6.1. Note that the figure is drawn according to the standard convention of discontinuous functions to the third power. If we are a bit picky, we should say that the function is continuous from the right but discontinuous from the left. In other words, capital P parentheses capital X is greater than 1 at or equal to 1/6. But if we approach lowercase x equals 1 from the left, in example, the value of the function we see is 0. The plot in figure 6.1 suggests a few properties of the CDF for discrete random variable. Number 1, the CDF is a non-decreasing function. To see this, observe that event capital E1 equals hyphen capital X greater than lowercase x is a subset of event capital E squared or divided hyphen lowercase x is greater than x to the second power, which implies capital P parentheses E to the first power is lower than capital P parentheses E to the second power. If we consider the support lowercase I equals 0, 1, 2, and 3, where lowercase xi is greater than xi positive. When we have fx parentheses x equals 0, if x is greater than x1 to the first power lim, fx parentheses I infinity equals 1. Table 6.1, a discrete probability distribution. Indeed, the value of the CDF is a probability, so it must stay within the interval 0 or 1. The CDF for a discrete random variable is a piecewise constant function with jumps corresponding to values included in the support. Lecture number 5 out of 18. Probability mass function. The CDF looks like a somewhat weird way of describing the distribution of a random variable. A more natural idea is just assigning a probability to each possible outcome in the support. Unfortunately, in the next chapter, we will see that this idea cannot be applied to a continuous random variable. Nevertheless, in the case of a discrete random variable, we may indeed associate a probability with the event hyphen capital X equals lowercase xi. Definition 6.4, probability mass function. The probability mass function PMF parentheses of a discrete random variable is defined as the function lowercase p, lowercase x, parentheses infinity equals capital P, parentheses capital X equals lowercase infinity. The function is zero for values not included in the support. For values lowercase xi in the support, the shorthand notation lowercase pi equals to the third power capital P parentheses capital X equals lowercase xi is often used. Example 6.4. Consider the PMF in table 6.1. Add note that probabilities add up to 1. The PMF lowercase p lowercase x parentheses lowercase x is graphically illustrated in figure 6.2 parentheses a. The upward arrows are a common way to depict probability masses concentrated at discrete points within the distribution supports. The height of each arrow corresponds to the probability of that value and provides us with a visual representation of likelihood. On the contrary, the continuous random variable or variables, the mass is distributed on continuous interval. Figure 6.2 parentheses b lowercase shows that we may get the CDF by summing up probabilities from the PMF. Capital F lowercase x infinity equals 0, lowercase po equals 0.15, po plus pi equals 0.35, po plus pi plus p2 equals 0.70, po plus p1 plus p2 plus p3 equals 1. For infinity is greater than 0, for infinity is greater than x and is greater than 1. For 1 is greater than x and greater than 2. For 2 is greater than infinity, which is greater than 3. For 3 is greater than infinity. A capital P lowercase x parentheses x 015 020 035 030 times x 123. Capital F lowercase x parentheses x infinity 1 0.70 b 0.35 0.15 0123 lowercase x. Figure 6.2 from PMF to CDF and vice versa. Each probability we add over points in the support contributes a jump to the CDF. We can also go the other way around. In example, we may obtain probabilities by taking differences in the CDF. P lowercase p 0 equals capital F capital X parentheses 0. Lowercase p1 equals capital F lowercase x parentheses 2 minus capital F lowercase x parentheses 1. Lowercase p2 equals capital F lowercase x parentheses 3 minus capital F lowercase x parentheses 2. P3 equals capital F lowercase x parentheses 4 minus capital F lowercase x, parentheses 3. The example suggests general rules for moving from PMF and CDF and vice versa. We find the PMF by taking differences of consecutive values of the CDF over points lowercase xi in the support, lowercase p, lowercase x, parentheses infinity I equals to the third power capital P, parentheses capital X to the second power infinity I equals capital P, parentheses capital X greater than infinity I minus capital P, parentheses capital X is greater than infinity I equals capital F lowercase x parentheses infinity I minus capital F lowercase x parentheses infinity I minus 1 6.10. It is important to notice that if capital X is a discrete random variable and lowercase xi is in its support, then capital P parentheses capital X is greater than infinity I divided by capital P parentheses capital X greater than infinity I. Given the PMF, we just add up its values to find the CDF. Capital F, lowercase x, parentheses a to the third power, capital P, parentheses capital X is greater than a, lowercase a is equal psi, lowercase px, parentheses infinity I, divided xi is greater than a, 6.2. Indeed, the CDF and PMF provide us with the same information which fully characterizes a discrete random variable. Okay, so we'll come back with chapters 5 and 6, lectures 5 and 6, and we are all set to go. But that was an excellent module. Now, basically, it's breaking down zero, and I completely understand where that is coming from, so we'll do a little bit of theory on that. So, everybody take a stretch, drink some more coffee. That's intense right there. Again, military mindset, engineering mindset. I'm designing things. I'm thinking about the variables in the gearbox. So in my mind, it's either a fighter jet targeting system or like a race car on a track, regulating traction, braking, ABS, steering, uh, downforce. My mind just, you know what I'm saying, went very far. But this is all the time that we have because my business partners have been inside the business for 43 minutes. So now, before this next wave of weather hits me, I'm going to be on my way to the office. But I want to thank you for tuning in for today. Send me everything, send me the JPEGs, everything to my email. And we'll see you faster than you can snap your fingers. But for everybody else tuning in, have an amazing day today. May you conquer everything in your path. May everything that you touch turn into solid gold, bars, and silver bars, and beautiful and precious gemstones such as moissanite and laboratory grown diamonds. Always remember to dream big because dreams come true. It happened to me, and I know for a fact it's going to happen to you. Tune right back. We'll be in the office in about 20 minutes. God bless. And good job. Everybody did a good job. Thank you very much. We'll see you on the Discord, 8 o'clock.